It's time for a conversation with Steve Clarke. It's a little segment we call Inside the Game. And Steve, I understand you've got some inside information for us all about the college football playoff.
This is really going inside the game. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Ron. And good morning, Pat. The Power Four conferences wrapped up their summer meetings, not to be confused with the spring meetings with the convocation of the bishop, but they had their summer meetings concluding with the SEC and the Big 12 this past week. Still no consensus on the college football playoff, but boy, has the attitude changed. A year ago, Tony Petitti came up out of the Big Ten, came up with this 24-team playoff idea, and everybody basically just destroyed it. All the conferences destroyed it. The media people destroyed it. They said it was horrible for the game, and it's an absolute joke of an idea from the Big Ten commissioner. Flash forward, and the attitude has changed. The ACC is on board. The Big 12 has changed their mind. The SEC hasn't yet, but you have to ask yourself why. And the answer is increased access to the playoff. It's finally dawned on some of these teams that maybe if we expanded the field, maybe we can get more teams in. So, for example, in the 2024 final college football rankings before they determined the playoff field, the Big 12 had 3 teams ranked between 17 and 23 in the final college football rankings before the playoff announcement. In 2025, the Big 12 had 4 teams ranked between 12 and 21. For a conference that normally gets 1 team selected to the college football playoff, 4 sounds a whole lot better, don't you think?
Yeah.
And for the ACC, it's a different point of view. You had controversy over the last 3 years about who got in. You had an undefeated Florida State team, and an injury to its dynamic starting quarterback led to them not making the 4-team playoff in 2023. It's never happened before where an undefeated team did not make the playoff, but it happened to Florida State out of the ACC. Then in 2024, you had the possibility of SMU and Clemson not making the playoff in 2024, and it was their 2 best teams. That went down to the wire. And then last season, Miami versus Notre Dame's argument last season led to Notre Dame's athletic director, Pete Bavacqua, declaring that the ACC did permanent damage to their relationship because they simply argued for the case of having their own full-time conference member, Miami, being advocated for to making the field of 12 and therefore being somewhat against Notre Dame. Notre Dame did not make the playoff last year, which led to Pete Bavacqua's statement about, permanent damage. Miami went on to make it to the championship game. So there's reasoning why the ACC would certainly want things to expand so you wouldn't have its top teams always being in an argument and pitting itself against one another to being in the playoffs. So let's move on just a little bit. For the Big 12 and the ACC, the more the field expands, the more opportunity they will get proportionally to prove themselves on the field and to make money off the field that they normally wouldn't get. Everyone understand that so far, right?
Yeah, got it.
Yep. All right. What you may not know is that a few years ago, when the Big 12 and the Pac-12 and the ACC was treading water to exist, they gave up their rights to having any voting power for the future of the playoff and the format, and essentially gave the keys to the Big 10 and the SEC for them to create. But those power school conferences are going to do what's best for them, while appearing to act as a benevolent God.
Right.
Yeah, we're thinking of everybody. Yeah.
The SEC is never benevolent. Let's just be clear.
And if the Big Ten and the SEC can't agree on a format, which they can't, things just remain the same. But today you have to ask the question, how much is the SEC thinking about themselves and their own constituency and for the good of college football, which is what you and I, the fan, want to have, the good of college football, where does this all rank? And is there another outside influence that is really kind of taking over the situation? All right. Some have speculated from the very beginning that TV networks really are the ones in control.
Right.
Why would Tony Petitti want a 24-team football playoff format? Why would Greg Sankey stick to his guns and only want 16 for the SEC? Well, there's certainly legitimate reasons for each of them. The Big Ten has an 18-team conference membership. You have to give universities and their fan bases hope that they can get in. Under a 12-team format, you look at the Big Ten, Dave, right now. Let's go over them. I mean, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, USC. That's 5 right there.
And Indiana, throw them in now.
Well, yeah, let's get Indiana in there. That's 6. But you have 12 other members.
Yeah.
How many of that 12 really feel like they have any shot in any given year of making the playoff?
Right.
You could certainly look at the bottom 6 teams of the Big Ten and say we have no shot.
No shot, right.
Other than a Signetti miracle to come in and make ourselves relevant. If you don't feel like you have a shot, why are you playing? And how are you going to get donors to donate millions of dollars for your NIL commitments? Expand the playoff field, expands hope.
Yeah.
Take a look at the SEC. Why 16 for them? Well, in the SEC, where the league is so deep and competitive, and increased their conference schedule from 8 games to 9 games, and enforcing a rule to play 10 Power 4 schools. This is about survival. And by the way, the SEC has many teams that were just on the outside looking in. All right. The SEC field had 3 teams ranked between 11 and 15 that didn't make the playoff in 2024. And they had teams ranked 13th and 14th in 2025 that were on the other side of the bubble. You know where the SEC isn't? They're not between 17 and 24.
Right.
They're not there.
16
So
is good enough.
If it goes to 16, the SEC says we can dominate the field.
Yeah.
But here's the question about the networks as the music comes up this week, everybody. If ESPN has to do more than 16 games, they can't do it.
Oh.
If the field expands to 24, more coverage of the playoffs would have to go to another network. i.e. Fox.
Yeah.
Leads the Big Ten coverage. So is this about the networks or about the good of college football? We'll talk about it next week.